What's going on, y'all? Back at it again with the Build My Brand podcast. Thank you for all the love you guys have been showing on our most recent podcast. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please subscribe, leave a comment down below on what topics you want us to cover, and smash that like button before we get started with the video. As always, Shelton here.
Mario.
And we got a special guest on today. You want to introduce yourself?
What's up? Chris Simba here. Chris K. Simba.
Yeah. So you want to kind of just introduce yourself, tell us about what you do, your passions, your aspirations in life, where you're at. I know like you're big into politics and stuff like that, so kind of just fill us in a little bit.
Well, first of all, how you guys doing? How's your mental health? You guys feeling today? That's ask a question back. You go on.
I'm cool, man. I'm good.
Last 2 months since I stopped working and just been doing BMB and taking there's no school during summer. Yeah, it's been very chill. I've been taking walks, been gymming every day.
Like knowing you have no score is weird because like you finish doing your task and you're like, oh snap, I have a score to do, but there's
I feel like I always have something to do. I mean, I still do, but I feel like there's like my mind is thinking about 3-4 things, but at the moment it's literally thinking of just 2 things.
Right. Yeah.
How about you? How's your mental?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. Gonna build a big gear on, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
I'm feeling good. But yeah, I'm Chris. I do a lot of things. I am a photographer, a videographer. I do a little bit of modeling. People call it modeling. I don't really call it modeling. I just like taking pictures, you know. I'm into fashion, like high fashion. I'm into suits, all this stuff. I'm into the music industry, like the like behind, you know, the executive side, managing and all that stuff. And lastly, I'm into politics. So that's what I kind of do right now. That's the career path I'm taking right now. So I'm currently working on politics and all.
So you work with Trudeau, right? The Liberal Party?
Well, yeah, I work at the Liberal Party.
Yeah, I saw the picture you posted. Hopefully we could throw it up on the screen. I'll send it to you.
Yeah. So yeah,
it's going to be you one day?
I don't know. Let me know. I do want to be a politician one day. How far that's going to take me, I don't know. Hopefully it takes me as far as I can.
Prime Minister Chris Simba.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be corrupt guy.
Oh, never that.
Send us the insider info though. I'm down to collect that info.
I bet. But yeah, so I work for the Liberal Party. Right now I'm transitioning into a new role, so I can't disclose how that's going because I don't have any confirmation yet. Mm-hmm. But I have a couple options that are gonna present themselves for my next role, which I'll have to choose wisely. But previously I did work for MP. And it was honestly a great experience. It was intense. It was a switch. Like, the thing about politics is that it's such a versatile type of niche. You learn so much things at the same time, and you're kind of your own boss. Like, it's not those type of jobs where you just wait there and wait for someone to kind of tell you what to do. Like, you have to initiate, know what you have to do, and like you can't sit there and wait because things will come before your eyes. And the thing about politics is that a mistake in politics goes a long way. And whoever you're working for, if you make that mistake, that's on their name, right? And then the media will take that and will spit it and make it into something else. So you have to work very precisely, very carefully, and you have to learn how to work fast, learn how to multitask, but still deliver quality work. Because you can work fast and know how to multitask and do all that stuff, but if you're not delivering quality work, what's the point? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, so
I'll talk about what you're drinking.
Yeah, man. Drinking Amarula. You're something like that creamy stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't even know what I'm drinking.
Yeah, today white dog, you put on a Mario to Moscato. You didn't know about that.
Yeah, I should.
She was telling me about Reddit. It's like, you know, some niggas go and say, look at the bottle. Like, this guy, you're at the bottle. Look at the ingredients. That was something to do. Someone does off the show.
But yeah, it does taste like juice. It's fresh.
Yes. It's delicious still too, because like when something tastes like juice, keep drinking it, and next you know you're falling down the stairs. You know,
I'm good. I have good self-control.
Sean. Shit.
Cool. Yeah. So I think that's interesting insight on politics. Yeah. I'm not too big into politics. Don't know much about it myself. Yeah. I know you read the news and you know
everything.
Yeah. And
most instances, so.
Yeah. And you've been big into it for years. You've been talking about wanting to be prime minister for a long time. So yeah. Well.
So basically, but for me, it's just more like Well, first of all, I'm Congolese. Shout out my Congolese and that. But I just want a career where I can have a positive impact on multiple people's lives. And I found that there's multiple careers that offer, that type of opportunity to have a positive impact on many. But for me, I recognize myself in politics, in the way I am, the way I can interact with people, the way I have kind of like a wide vision and a wide opinion of things. I can see things from different angles, and I'm very open. And I find that coming from an immigrant family opens your eyes to a lot of things. And the way I grew up and the way I saw things in my lifetime, I never grew up with tunnel vision. I always saw each side of things. And, when you come from immigrant parents, there's that pressure to become something. You know what I mean? So definitely it's like, that's what makes me aim high. You know what I mean? Often people just say, I just want my government job and sit there. I had the government job. I got my government job and I was like, this is not enough. Like, I'm not being challenged enough. I want more. Yeah. It's that thing about being eager and a go-getter and wanting more. And honestly, man, being a politician isn't easy. Like, when you see their life or what they have to do, it's just challenging. And it's like your problems are thrown at you constantly. Like, you're constantly problem solving, all that stuff. So,
You want to talk about a bit about how you grew up? I know you're in a unique situation. You guys are triplets, so you want to talk about?
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm a triplet, as you guys know. So I grew up in Ottawa, born and raised in Ottawa. And that's actually a funny one because on social media, I don't say where I'm from. I like to live a lot of clues and mysteries. Like, recently, I just took off the cargo flag off my bio. Because I just wanted to be a bit mysterious, So I don't really tell them my age. I don't say where I live. And I just recently took off the Congo flag, so now they got to figure out where I'm from. So I kind of like doing stuff like that. But
so on that note, a little bit off topic again. Yeah. Before you continue on that note, so you don't tell people your age, right?
Nah, I wouldn't talk about age.
So let's say you're talking to a new girl. Like, what is the dynamic of that conversation when she asks you for your?
So I can't lie, man. In my earlier days, when I wasn't as confident, I would add a little 2 years to that, a little 1 year. Or like, let's say I know I'm turning, like, let's say I know that, example, let's say I was 18 and I know I was turning 19 that year. Like, yeah, I'm 19. But on my birthday, like, happy 20th birthday. I'm like,
So have you gotten back from someone posting on their story, like happy 20th, like I said?
No.
Okay.
But there's some stuff on the internet of me that kind of like make you do the math. Like, I remember I was like,
is there any funny story of you getting back?
Not almost back. Like, I remember like, I had this was like back in I was like 13 or 12. I started talking to this random girl from the States. And she was like,
when you were
13 or something like that. Okay. I think it was 13.
It's on?
Yeah, on my iPod. That for real though. I called it time, yo. I started talking to her and like she asked me for my age and I was like, yo, if I tell this girl my age, it's off. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to lie about my age. So I lied about my age. I gave him like 20 something. And then I saw my baby face, So she started like doing the math and she was like, looking at my info. She's like, oh, well, I see you with your football team and this is like a U something team. How come you're 20 something? And then she started asking me more questions. And then she was like, let me see your ID. So what I did is I went on Google and searched up like the ID of like a university or something. And then I added my picture to it. And I matched it with the age. So I went too far with that one. But yeah, that was a time where I kind of had to sneak my age. I didn't really get caught, but I stopped fairly like young, lying about my age. And I would say at this point, I'm like, listen, I just say this is my age. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, that's not my problem. Because I know what's up. Now I know I'm that guy. Yeah, cool. And honestly, I don't think my age matches. Like, if you look at my life, and I think you guys can relate on that. Like, when it comes to your lifestyle, how you've lived life, what you've accomplished, like your age has nothing to do with it. Like, it's a different thing.
There's the thing though. Like, once you graduate from high school, to give it like a year or two, like
it doesn't mean.
Consider the age of 20, 21. Let's say once you're legal in the States, right?
Yeah.
Everybody is basically in the same boat because the thing is, you'll have people that come out of high school they don't go back to school for 4 years, so they start school back again when they're 22.
Right.
You went to school when you were 18, you finished at 22. So you're in a position in life where a person that's 4 years ahead of you, like, hasn't even reached yet. You know what I mean? So once you reach a certain age, it really comes out to like that timeline. And that's why I see it, because bro, from like, I think from 20 to 30, everybody's in the same mode.
Exactly.
Everybody's in the same mode. Like, you know, somebody could be working manager at McDonald's and they're 25 and you finish school and like, you know, you're going like high up in like a business position or something like that. So,
and there's a lot of, and that's why I try to say often, because often people like to take that number and make it something that it isn't, or make it bigger than a bigger deal that it's supposed to be.
I think to be honest though, I think it's mainly for women.
Yeah.
Because as mad as it sounds, but from like a man perspective, as a male, and I don't know if you guys agree, but if you really think about it, like you could be a 25-year-old male, 26, 27-year-old male, and like if a girl's 21, it's not deep to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But a girl that's 26, so people thinking, oh, it's deep.
Yeah.
You know, if you're 21. But then the thing is, that's what a lot of them tend to say, but more often than not, like they actually don't care, because it really comes down to what you do.
I've had my experiences where I've had, you know, someone older want to be in a relationship with me.
Yeah.
And I told them, honestly, I don't think this is realistic, because it's like when you're ready to have kids, I might not be.
Exactly.
And women have that biological clock, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's the main difference.
It started ticking, you know, faster and stuff like that. So it was like, there's a lot of things that, you know, don't add up, you know what I'm saying? And, and also when you're younger, your credit score is fresher. Credit score is fresher. A lot of things about you is fresh. And if someone that's older might have a bad credit score or other things, and might, you know, take advantage of the fact that for you everything was fresh and then mess it up for you as well.
What do you think's the guy's prime?
Is prime?
Yeah.
Damn, I've heard that your prime says at 30.
I heard that too.
I heard that.
I think like late 20s is your prime, because like that's when you're normally you might initially set
Exactly.
but stable.
But based on what though?
And then even look wise,
But based on what though, do you think?
like most people have like a full grown beard. They look the best, in good shape and shit like that.
Yeah. But I mean, like at 30, you're financially stable based on what, do you think?
Like
Based on like the norm?
yeah, like based on the average, like
person, like what it takes them, because like a lot of people in their 20s are trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
They don't even know where they're going, etc. But by the age of 30, it's like you've kind of, maybe your late 20s, you finally figure out what you want to do.
Bro, yeah, I just want my grown man strength. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Yeah. I don't know why.
Grown man shit is different, bro.
Yo, I don't know why. Like, yo, I'm bigger than like guys that'll be like 35, 40 years old tell me how they're gonna push more weight than me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fam, I remember as a kid, like sometimes I could fight my dad, bro. And I and the way he just put me back in my place, man. And it wasn't even go to the gym, but the way he handled me, I was just like, what?
Yeah.
That grown listening is different. So, yeah.
I just don't want that belly.
No cap.
Belly.
Yeah. Yo, to be honest, I told myself, like, and especially recently, there's something I started picking up, like fasting.
Yeah.
So, or how you call it, but I always studied the word intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
So basically, like I'm not eating for like 16-hour periods. So from 8 o'clock till 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll push it from let's say 8 till like 2.
Yeah.
But some days I might eat later. So I have to push it later. Anyways, regardless, bro, I'm telling myself, like, if I reach 35 and I start getting fat, I'm not gonna eat. Yeah, it's interesting. I saw somebody in the news, like this football player lost 100 pounds from not eating for like 30 days straight.
Nah, I said I'm starving myself. If I start getting fat, I'm starving myself. Like, there's no way I'm fat.
Me, I don't know, man. I just love food too much, man.
I don't think so.
I'm a big foodie. Like, I remember Shelton one day tell me, like, if it tastes good, it's not good for you.
Yeah, that's a fact. For it tastes good, it's not good for you. For the most part.
Yeah.
Like, well, like, because you evaluate, yes, you know, there's fruits that might taste decent and stuff like that, right? But compare, like, those fruits that might be decent to, like, junk food. And the junk food is, like, 10 times more superior, you know?
But if you, like, even if you look at it now, like, how much of the food that we're eating here is processed? Like,
even at that, like, bro, apples on the trees, those spray chemicals.
everything. But you know why, though? The reason why is because here in Canada, in the States, we're over consumers. So the things is that we consume so fast that the people making the food don't even have time to produce it in mass.
Did you see they started, I think the FDA recently approved, like,
I know what you're talking about.
like synthetic food.
Yeah. But the things that there's a nuance, because if you go in other places in the world, like Europe, Africa, and all that stuff, the food is so fresh. You can tell the difference. Like, if you're lactose intolerant and you go drink milk in somewhere in Africa or in Europe, bro, you're gonna be fine, because we're over consumers. Like, example, when we have like storms and like stuff like that, people go line up in grocery stores and go buy food that they're probably not gonna eat.
Yeah.
And then you have no electricity. So where are you gonna store that food? You have no electricity. Your fridge is down. Where are you gonna store that food? So we're over consumers. Like, we just, like COVID, man, the stores were freaking empty. You know what I mean?
But there's also like a production issue.
Yeah, there's a production issue too. And then when you look at companies, they want to cut cost as well. But when you look at Europe, so basically it's like big companies feed the States and Canada all the junk, like the leftovers. And then the real ingredients are used to, I'm telling you, if you take 2 pounds like Fanta, if you take Fanta that they sell here and Fanta in Africa, bro, it's 2 different things.
Yeah.
So I think that like companies are trying to cut costs, and then everything's going up too. So
Yeah, that's interesting. I always thought about that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, bro, obviously been touching on that subject. I feel like a lot of the times, bro, people here end up consuming like the shittiest of the shittiest food. You know what I mean?
We have the worst of the worst. We have diabetes here.
Yeah.
You don't hear about it often, like elsewhere.
But also, it's a cycle though, because the food industry and the pharmaceutical industry are working together.
Yeah.
And the pharmaceutical industry want people to they want to keep pushing their products so they can make more money.
Yeah.
So they want to put in society, they want people to be more, like, they want more people to be dependent off medication, right? So to make people dependent off medication, you got to poison their food so that they can start having health problems and need them to get medication.
Bro, not even just that. Like, if you look at the minerals that they have in water,
Right.
like a large majority of the water that we're consuming is like far past, you know, like health risk recommendations.
Right.
So like a lot of the water that we drink, you know, everybody says drink water every day and this and that. Bro, a large majority of the water that we have, like coming out of our taps, coming out of you know the sinks, whatever it is, like it isn't even healthy for you and contains chemicals that.
They also say if it's free, it's not good for you. You know what I mean? Like, the thing is that the fact that it's free should also tell us something.
Hey, I mean, water isn't free.
It's not free, but it's like, it's
much cheaper than anything else. Yeah.
But the thing is that it's like free for all. It's like you can get it anywhere. Like,
Hey,
example,
we don't have a question.
I mean, Quebec is free.
like, you know, if
I don't
you
have a question.
ask for water, they have to give you water.
Yeah.
I have a question. Y'all ever thought of this?
No.
So if water, how long has the Earth existed?
Yeah.
Like a long time, right? Yeah. And there's been water on Earth ever since this existed, right? And so basically they say like water is like one of the only things that constantly stays on Earth. You know, we drink it, we pee it, and then
Full cycle.
exactly, it goes full cycle. Why do we pay for it if it's just gonna stay here forever?
I mean, there's not all
We pay. I feel like we pay for like the filtering that they do to the water.
Yeah.
I think that's apartment 3.
No, to be honest, I feel like we pay for the system that brings the water.
Yeah, the system with the filtering and all that stuff.
Because you got to think about it. In Canada, we're fortunate, but other places don't have that many water.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because like you can't take that crazy salt water from the sea.
Right. And some people have water, but it's just they don't have the system to filter it too.
Yeah,
The percentage of water that's pure is very slim.
yeah, it is. And in Canada, we have like pretty much all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's close to like the glaciers, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that like water, like the proper water is in bottled water. I think that's the water that's healthy for you. I think the water that comes out of our taps has nothing good in it for us. And it's like temporarily like hydrates our bodies. I feel.
Yeah. So something I want to touch on, obviously like a recent event, the Titanic submarine.
Yeah.
But obviously like it imploded.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of just wanted to get everybody's point of view on that situation, because I don't know why, but for me, whenever I see like certain things like that happen and the way that like it's marketed and posted on social media, especially considering, I think, what was it, only 5 people on board?
Yeah, for them.
So especially considering there's only been 5 people on board, and the way that they were posting it everywhere saying it was going to go and go see the Titanic and this and that, whatever. I don't know why. I just feel like there's always like a deeper thing behind it.
So there is. I don't know if you're into like conspiracy theories. I know a lot of people say like, you know, when they're pushing something heavy on the news, that there's always something deeper and more important behind the scenes, right? I don't know if you guys paid attention, but Hunter Biden, which is Biden's son, literally like those couple of days that they were covering the Titanic thing, he got charged, and I don't know the final word, but like he is guilty. He is guilty of I think child pornography or some shit, laundering money with Ukraine, like pretty much everything he was getting charged for, investigated for. There's some stuff with his laptop and stuff. He's fully in the wrong for all that. And just keep in mind, remember that I think the day after there was that ship of like 600 immigrants. That's saying, what's up? 700, even worse. 700 people that died, and I barely saw it covered on the news.
It didn't get covered on the news. It was just on social media. Somebody posted it, and they're just saying, talking about the Titanic with 5 people on it. And,
I do believe that there's always something deeper.
You know what's crazy though?
What's up?
The actual Titanic itself too, there's a lot of conspiracy theories behind it as to why it sank that day. I haven't like I don't remember off the top of my head like the specific conspiracy theories, but I do remember that they're trying to say that there was one guy that had boarded the ship and got off the ship because he knew it was going to sink. And there was somebody aboard on the ship, some billionaire at the time that they wanted to kill. So
Did you watch them all? I'm watching them.
Nah, I'm not into all that, to be honest. It's not my vibe. But I do think, I don't know why, anything that's like big, like, you talk about 9/11, you talk about Titanic.
I mean, 9/11 was, but I believe so.
This thing I'm covered.
Yeah.
Heavily. This thing are killing people that we don't want to, people of power that we want to kill for certain reasons or certain motives. In Africa is really wrong. Like example, like in Congo, there was this politician that was being trialed for stealing money from the country. Like we're talking about like 25 million or like 15, I forgot. And during his trial, he poisoned the judge that was like prosecuting him. Like, well, not prosecuting, but like part of the trial. They killed the judge, and that was like a warning to like the rest of the justice team and tell them like,
Don't fuck with it.
yeah, exactly. So it's like in Africa they do it in front of your eyes because over there there's not really like regulations or sanctions and stuff like that. Like they're not strong. The justice system is very weak.
Well, bro, think about it too. Like in Haiti, how they killed the president or the prime minister?
Yeah. So that's the thing. So it's like, if it can happen in these countries in front of our eyes, how much more in the Western world?
Yeah.
But the thing is that they just are smarter at working their way around it.
Well, it's not just that. It's also like very much based on power, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, let's say you're already in a place where a large majority of the population doesn't have money. There's less people of power there. Yeah. And so if you're part of the top even 0.1% of the people in that country, odds are, you're going to be able to get away with a lot more. Because
You pay everyone off.
Exactly. So, yeah, I do think a lot of stuff like that is crazy. And we obviously don't hear it covered. At the end of the day, it's conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that when you really look at it, you can come up with your own opinions. And I feel like more often than not, people are, at least nowadays, and I think there's the main difference. What do we call people before millennials? There's Gen Z.
It's not.
I don't know. I mean, I don't. We could just use boomers. We could use boomers as an example.
Yeah.
Well, there's boomers and there's after boomers. I think it might be Gen X.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, might be Gen X. Regardless, I would just say anybody born within the last, let's say, I don't know, 1940s, 1950s, all the way up to like maybe 1990s. I feel like a large majority of them, their brain doesn't, let's say, process this, like, yeah, people born, I would say, between 1950 and 1990, their brain doesn't process things the same way as we do, right? So what I mean by that is they're wired and programmed in a way where the government will tell them stuff, and anything that's portrayed on social media is going to be what they believe because they can't have opinions of their own because they've been raised to just believe what they see.
It's like during COVID, our parents spend their days in front of the TV.
Exactly.
Everything that was to them,
Exactly. And it's like, bro, I've tried to have countless conversations with people. It's like, I just realized like it's not going to work because they just don't understand. Like they just don't understand. So I feel like it's difficult, but we're going to move into an era where a lot of us that are growing up, and obviously, boomers, unfortunately, at some point in time is gonna come to an end. I think within the next like 30 years, right?
But you know, for that 30 years, like people that are currently working, we're paying for their retirement.
Yeah.
Because there's so many boomers and not enough of like whatever generation comes after boomers. The generations is like Gen what Z?
Yeah, just millennials and all that.
Millennials and all that stuff. There's not enough of us in the workforce.
Yeah.
Or just enough of us, like, period. So like basically it would take more of our money to pay for the retirement of millennium. So all those like all the money, all the things that are taking in our paychecks, something like that, regular jobs, everyday jobs, is paying for their retirement, which is crazy. Yeah. So for the next 30 years, so if we're paying for the retirement now, the money that we think that's going towards our retirement, where is it really going for our retirement?
Yeah.
Know what I mean? So
yeah. But literally going back on that topic, like that's the thing, like I feel like people couldn't really grasp like what the actual situation is with the submarine. And then there's also another thing that I saw in regards to Bill Gates. And basically, I watched it briefly yesterday. Like, he was basically saying that there's too many people on Earth, and he thinks we should kill off people. Basically,
He's Thanos.
yeah. And so essentially the idea, and obviously this isn't necessarily what he said. I can't quote word for word. Like I didn't watch his interviews or anything, but the whole concept is that you know, people of power and the elites think that because there's too many people on Earth, according to them, that the easiest people that they can, you know, use and have power over is people in Africa. So they're going to Africa and try to kill off as many people as possible to reduce the population of the world. Right. So that's obviously, at the end of the day, what people say is like conspiracy theories based on what we think.
no, but it's true.
But
like,
it happens.
in Congo, we have the war in East.
Exactly.
Congo right now.
And it happens, bro.
And the basically in the east of Congo, we have a lot of minerals. So one of the most like demanded minerals in the world, which is cobalt. And we have other stuff like nickel and diamonds and gold and all that stuff that we have in the east of Congo. And basically right now there's a war funded by the biggest powers and the biggest companies and the biggest world leaders. And there's no sanctions being done. So it's like a genocide. Not even like a genocide. It is a genocide because millions of people are dying. And basically it's through the Rwandese government. So the Rwandese government is funding this rebel group called M23. And basically they're going in these areas, taking over cities, killing people, raping women.
What's the purpose of raping women?
That's the thing. It's like when you're put in a position of power, you're going to take advantage as much as you can. Yeah. And men, not only they have a want to conquer
Domination.
domination of power. So basically domination can happen in any ways. It can happen sexually, financially, like in many ways. So they come in these places and they basically like kill or do all types of things to take over that territory that is full of minerals, and then they let all these companies come in and take those minerals for free and just leave with them. And those are companies making Teslas, all that stuff is everywhere. It's in their phones, Teslas, computers, even in the medical field, like prosthetics and stuff like that, implants, all that stuff. You have that metal that comes from Congo.
You seem to see that covered. Like I had no idea that was happening.
Oh, because they don't cover it. Even like the president of France came to Congo, and in front of him, they asked him, "Are you gonna put sanctions?"
Oh, but France has been torturing Africa. Oh yeah, years.
Yeah, and for sure. And that's the thing. Like, think about it this way: like, Congo has 24 trillion in natural resources. Like, our natural resources are worth 24 trillion. Mm-hmm. The GDP of the United States, I think, is about 21 trillion or something like that, 21 something. Right? So now imagine this is 24 trillion of natural resources undeveloped, untouched, just in its raw form. So now imagine that developed. How rich would even just Congo by itself? This is in Congo alone. So now imagine the rest of Africa. So Congo alone has 24 trillion in natural resources undeveloped. So if you develop that, you can quadruple or triple, or that even that is enough, you know? Sure. The United States is the biggest economical power in the world with 21 trillion GDP. So now if a country can even just double that, imagine that economical power. So that's why the Western world, the big companies, the big leaders are going to keep oppressing Africa because they fear Africa's potential. And that's why I see it. I find that like the reason why,
you know what the issue is though, that makes that tough is that unfortunately, like a lot of those parts of the world, like people aren't given the proper education that they need to be able to take advantage of.
that's the issue.
You know what I mean? So the thing is, not only are they obviously like oppressing certain countries, but also we're put in a situation where there's not enough resources for people to get educated and know how to actually take advantage of what they have.
Exactly, that's the issue. So that's what is happening in Congo right now is with the natural resources that the country does have power over, we don't have the education, the resources, the equipment to even extract those natural resources. So what we have now is we have other countries come in, other companies come in, extract it for us, but then they send it back to us. So example is as if you have a bike, ask, yo, Sheldon, can I borrow your bike? I borrow your bike, I do what I gotta do with your bike, I come back and I'm like, I give you back your bike, but for $20.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So the country's not profiting. They're just
and I feel like the only way for people to be able to like get over that is if they're put in a situation where they have the proper education and the proper resources to be able to like help out. But unfortunately, a lot of the people that end up coming here, they get that education, they get the resources, but their mind's not in the place to go back there. You know what I mean? So people end up coming here, they get the education, they want to come live like an American dream, but don't realize like you have all this at home that you could take advantage of. But it's hard though, because if you're coming from a place of struggle, you know what I mean? You're not going to go put yourself back in that sort of situation.
And this is an interesting topic because we all come from parents that immigrated to Canada. And I think that the mindset that, you know, the diaspora should have is that we're here to kind of steal back what colonization stole from us. So colonization stole resources, education, finance, money, etc., everything. Right? So we're here to kind of steal back what they stole from us and bring it back home. So whether it's education, whether it's, you know, investment resources, whatever, we're here to take that and send it back home. But a lot do not have that mentality and want to take that and reinvest it into here. But honestly, if we're being truly honest, the system will never be built for people that look like us, ever. Like when they were making the Constitution, they were not thinking about us, and they're not going to go back and change the Constitution for us, unfortunately.
The thing is our community's not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like think about what BLM was and then what it actually turned into and the potential that it had.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like even all that, you know, protesting and stuff like that had the potential to turn it into something that would have been much bigger for our community. But I just feel like, and I don't know for yourself, but this is just obviously based on like my own experience of white people, was like, yo, people are too selfish.
Oh, that's exactly
You know what
I was gonna say.
People are just too selfish. So it's like our communities don't want to help each other out and don't want to come together to be able to do something. A lot of people just want to do it for their own benefit.
And that's the issue too. The people that are selfless get fooled by the selfish people.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You get stomped on if you're so.
Stopped on, but not only that is because
But it's because people make promises.
and people also think that everyone has the same heart as them.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a given heart, if you have a selfless heart, you're there thinking that everyone else has the same heart as you.
Yeah.
So you treat everyone as if they have the same heart as you, when they end up just being selfish people.
Sure.
And then that's when you get betrayed, and that's happening everywhere.
Yeah, it's a crazy situation.
Yeah, you want to talk about the two most important events in your life, or three?
Well, I'd say three, but the things that the three splits into so many other things. The third one, but I find like the first thing in your life, the biggest decision that you will ever make, is who you decide to spend the rest of your life with, because that can break you or it can make you. And the other day, I was literally watching this video about this man saying that a man cannot fall in love, because man falling in love means that you're now drunk in your relationship, you're not sober. Because when a man is in love, whoever you decide to commit to or fall in love with can destroy you or can make you. Because the state of vulnerability that puts you in can also, like, as a man, you put all your pride down, you put like so much of what makes you like a man, you put it down. And how many people did we see to not take their dreams seriously or whatever they're working on in life because they fell in love, because someone came in the way.
A lot of people tend to slow down when that happens.
Exactly, right? They don't seek more. Like, oh, I have a wife, I have kids, now I have to focus on that, which is fine. But it's like, as a man, I find like it's very dangerous to fall in love, and I find that not every man is gonna have the opportunity in life to fall in love, unfortunately, because it's such a dangerous place, especially if you do it with a raw woman. Yeah. And nothing against women, you know what I mean? But everyone has relationships, and I find that that's one of the biggest decisions in your life, because how many people, like, divorce destroys you in every way.
You know what though? I feel like an issue though with a lot of men is that men don't fall in love with their craft,
Right.
and don't fall in love with their career
Exactly.
over falling in love with a woman.
Exactly.
And that's why I feel like a lot of times people end up prioritizing the relationship over anything else that they have going on in life. And that's why like a woman can make or break though.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, bro, cause think about it. Like, let's say, you have all your aspirations to do whatever. And that's like your main priority. So for me, like, I always say like my main priority is what I have going on. Right. Cause there's people relying on me, right? Not only like people that, I'm working with, but then also the clients that we have on board.
Exactly.
Right. So imagine that, like, oh yeah, I'm not going to give my client my all because I'm in a relationship.
Right.
So that's the thing. Like, you got to fall in love with your craft first and fall in love with what you got going on, because the thing is, like, your woman will come and then you give her everything, and then you're not putting any more energy into yourself, and then everything just falls off. Right.
Exactly. Right.
So there's that. And then second, it's like, I feel like people don't realize the type of actual biological clock that you have. And when I say biological, well, I don't necessarily think it's like an actual biological clock, but like your timeline.
Right.
People don't evaluate their timelines properly, because I think they'll be like, I can make it later in life
Right.
when I'm like 40.
But that's not guaranteed at all.
But let's say hypothetically, like, you do make it at that age, right?
Right.
It's like you make it at 40. Okay. Your interview will say like, oh, it's not too late and shit like that. It's never too late.
It's actually like half your life gone.
Yeah.
Right.
But like the other issue is like, okay, so if you make it at 40, how do you prioritize like your children and your family and all that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to do what I got to do now so that later down in the future, like, my family's good.
I think that a relationship shouldn't be your only sense of accomplishment. A lot of people
I don't even think it should be one of them, bro.
but it depends though.
I think your family as a whole.
But it depends where you come from. Example, if you come from an environment where nobody ever gets married, everybody gets divorced, everyone's a single mom or a single father, marriage can feel like an accomplishment to you because you kind of broke a cycle. You know what I mean? Because let's not lie to each other. Like, growing up in a household with not like the father and the mother being together or having issues, it does something to a child. Definitely. You know what I'm saying?
You won't necessarily know it.
Right.
And that's the thing with mental health issues too. It's like a large majority of the time you won't be aware of what like certain scenarios do to you, because everything in your life has an impact on the way that you see things and the way you process it. So
I actually want to touch up on this. So I was watching a podcast the other day. It was Tate talking about and the real
I was
yeah, but I was gonna just a minute. The thing that resonated with me is that people should definitely think like that, because I never thought like that. So he was talking about how people just tend to just shift and look for happiness in something. So either your job, a woman, anything else. So he was talking to Aiden, and Aiden was saying like he was just trying to be happy, but then he said you shouldn't think like that. You should seek to do something that makes you proud of yourself, so fulfilled. And then in translation and like in the links with that, you'll be happy because you did something that made yourself proud. So for example, like the journey that we're all on, like financial freedom and all that stuff, that makes yourself, like, you're proud of yourself doing that, right? Yeah. And then that makes you happy. But like, you're not looking to be happy. You're looking to get stuff that fulfill you, right? So I think people should definitely think like that. I don't know, that opened up.
That's why people spend their life pursuing happiness, because people think that happiness is a straight line or it's a straight path. But happiness is not. Happiness is a compilation of things that make it happiness, and happiness can be something different for everybody. But you can't pursue happiness. You pursue things that lead to happiness. Things
on
that bridge
that note, then,
to happiness. Yeah.
on that note, let me ask you guys both this question. I'll start off with you because you mentioned it, and then we'll go to Chris, and then I'll answer after. But what are you seeking that would make you proud?
There's a lot of things, to be honest. First of all, let's say retiring my parents. That would make me the most proud, and in transition happy, and would make a lot of people happy. Another thing that makes me proud of myself would be putting a smile on other people's faces. So also doing whatever I want, whenever I want. That is something I'm proud of because I work to achieve that. Therefore, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of things. I mean, it does translate to money. I guess that fixes everything, but good health.
Yeah, money doesn't buy happiness. This is a bullshit concept.
Sure.
It's a bullshit concept. I think it comes from people having money that don't do anything with it.
For real. And also the last thing I'd say is probably my health. Like getting a good workout in, like you're proud of yourself, and therefore it makes you happy as well.
Yeah. So for you,
For me, what would make me proud and accomplished? Well, I can relate to Murray on this one, where I would like to retire my parents because I've seen the struggles that they've gone through, and it's like at this point of their life, the fact that they're still working and still, like pushing through, I just think that at that point you're almost at your breaking point. You know what I mean? And it's like you see your parents getting older, you see your parents getting tired. You know what I mean? So it's like it's definitely something that I look at. Two would be in regards to my career. Having a career where I can have a positive impact on multiple people's lives, like I said. And then for me, it would be being a great father. Being a great husband can be subjective because you can be a great husband but be with someone that's not a great wife. And then that makes you look like not the best husbands. Or like you could be a great husband but the person that you're with doesn't see you as a great husband because they can't struggle to acknowledge that. But for me, being a great father, I have more control over that because it's kind of like a one-way relationship. Not a one-way, but it's like it's pretty direct, and it's pretty like I know if I do this, if I do that for my children, they'll be in a good spot. So for me, I think that would be that, and honestly, investing back home and seeing my country grow, where I'm from, to grow, because I did something, setting an initiative there, and yeah.
Yeah, we'll get back to that with helping your country out because I want to cover that as well.
for sure.
But how about you?
Yeah, for me, it's I think the first thing that I really take pride in, it's supporting the people that I'm working with. So there's obviously a lot of people that trust in my vision, right? And a lot of people that like have came on board, and obviously I've been here for a long time. So like I always say this, like I take pride in making sure that like everybody that we're working with and that's on board with BMB like makes it somewhere in life. So that like I really, really pride myself in because I really feel like not that I'm responsible for other people's success, but I do feel like to a certain extent, like if I see somebody putting in work and putting in effort and dedicating themselves, like I take it into my own hands to make sure that that person's in a position to like make it somewhere in life. So that's like the first thing. So just making sure that everybody around me that is consistently working with me and stuff like makes it. And then I think the second thing would be like my family, right? So obviously that first scenario plays out. Obviously that first scenario plays out. Obviously that first scenario plays out. I'm in a position to support my family. So it's not necessarily about making sure that my family's supported because I know that that's going to happen regardless. I think the second thing is raising kids raising a family that will be like a respectful family and will follow like the same sort of ambitions that I had in my life, and that will follow like that same sort of path. Like I want to be able to make sure that, if I'm going to bring people in this world, that they're in a position to succeed and they're going to succeed by any means. So I think that's probably the second thing. And then lastly, third thing is just, I want to impact as many lives as possible as long as I'm on earth. And be an inspiration to as many people as possible. Because, bro, I won't say I came from an unfortunate situation because I didn't, but I do think that coming from where I came from in terms of like the mental space that I was in life and what I was doing with myself, like I was never put in a position where I was able to succeed.
Right.
And I had to like step out of my comfort zone and put myself in that position.
But that's the thing too. I find that, and I always say this, is anything that isn't uncomfortable isn't growth. And so it's like, so that's a saying that you can take and reevaluate your life. So you look at everything that you're doing, and if you feel too comfortable in something, anything that feels comfortable, everything that feels right, isn't growth. And it's not bad, because sometimes you're new into something and you finally got used to that thing that was new, and now you're just stagnant. You know, but it's like, for it to be growth, for you to have growth in your life, it has to feel uncomfortable, because growth itself is an uncomfortable process.
For sure.
Right? So I think that is important. I had a question for you, Shelton, actually. We talked about, you know, like handling a team and like having that weight on your shoulders, where, you know, it's important for you that each person you work with or crosses your path, you know, encounters some type of success in their life, their pathway. But how is it for you at a young age becoming like a quote unquote manager, like managing, doing payroll, and then managing like so much money at such a young age? How did you do that shift in your head from going from like, I'm just a kid, to, okay, now I'm just handling stuff and I'm actually handing people money that they need for their daily expenses and stuff like that? So how did you switch to that mindset of being managing and being on top of that?
I just want to touch up also, because like, used to make like, let's say $2,000 a month, like minimum wage, then went to e-com, made like 80K months, to now like, bro, I think we did like almost 500K month. Yes, just like managing that in like a period of like two, 3 years.
That was up.
I'm touching up on what Chris said.
I think for me, like, one main thing, and I know Mario could vouch for this, is that I don't have staff. Right? Like, and I think that's the main difference between like our agency and a lot of other people's. Other agencies will have their CEO and they're going to go hire staff, but we don't have staff. We all work together. We're all in the same position. We're all on the same path. Right? So that's the first thing. So like, we're all equals. Like, nobody is superior to anybody else. If anybody on the team thinks they are, like, they're not going to be on the team anymore, because that's just not how we run with things. Right? Everybody's on the same page. So I think that's the first thing. The second thing is, a large majority of things are incentive based, right? And the reason being is because if you're somebody that's coming from like an entrepreneurship background, you have an entrepreneurship mindset, you're not going to be like, you're not going to be hyped to be like, okay, I'm getting, you know, payroll. You know what I mean?
Set like 5K a month.
Exactly. Even if it was 10K a month, it's like, you know, you don't have growth potential beyond that, right? So, like, I have a conversation with, you know, the media buyers all the time, with Mario all the time. It's like, everything's performance based. So it's like, anything that we're making on our end as a company, more often than not, is just completely split in half in terms of like performance from what we're generating revenue from the clients, and like, you know, like on a month-to-month basis. So it's like, everybody's on the same page, right? And then from a monetary standpoint, bro, is like, I really started to look at it, and like, as you make more and more money, like 2K, 20K, 200K, $2 million, fucking, I don't know, $200 million, it's all the same shit. You know what? Maybe I would say once you hit like the 100 mils and stuff like that, like past 50 mil, well, Tate says past 25 mils, like, you don't need anything. I think once you reach the point where like you don't need any more money, then like it's a different story. But basically what I'm trying to say is like, $200, $2,000, $20,000, $200,000,
Right.
And even up to like 2 mil, like, is all the same thing, right? And the reason why I say that is because it's just a mindset thing, right? Like, if your job told you we're gonna pay you 2K a month, and then you had another job tell you we're gonna pay you 20K a month, once you make that 20K a month, you're gonna realize it's not that much money, you know?
It really isn't.
So I think it's like that whole thing, because we had $500,000 come in 1 month, and it was just like, it wasn't any different than hitting like a 50K month.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's funny because it's like, it's remember being teenagers and making like minimum wage, and then wishing we had the paychecks that we have now. Then now we have them, and then now we want more. So it's like, I feel like the more money you make, you start living in that lifestyle, the money that you're making.
For sure.
And then you hit kind of a cap where it's like, okay, well, my lifestyle is becoming a little over budget, so now I gotta make more money. And I feel like everybody's stuck doing that, and that's what makes people live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. Well, for me, bro, the way I look at it is like, it's not really a money thing anymore.
Yeah.
Like, obviously I need more money, to be able to do more things.
Exactly.
But for the most part, it's like, bro, I've pretty much done everything that like you could ask. Like, you need a car, you need a crib.
Yeah.
That's all you really need in life. And like, as long as you have that, like, you're pretty much set if you can afford food.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, then that, you know what I mean? So it's not really about money anymore.
But that's the thing about growth. Growth isn't about the final destination. It's about the small victories on your way to the victory.
Exactly.
Right? That's
We definitely got to enjoy the process, and we're still in the process.
Yeah.
If it's or anything, but I'm just saying, like, the process, I feel like these like 5K months are nicer than probably, and like one day I'll get to it, probably like 30, 40, 50K months. But like, I feel like these 5K months are like, they feel good.
Yeah.
Like 5, 10 to 10K months.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah. I don't know, bro. Like, it's not really a money thing anymore. Like, like, money doesn't really excite me.
right.
You know, it's more so what can be done with it,
Right.
which is one thing. But the other thing is like who you impact in order to get the money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, you get money, bro. There's so many different lives you can impact. Like, there's a kid on the street that like he had eaten in the last 3 days, and it's like, okay, you give him this, or like somebody comes to your event, they hear you speak, you know, and it's like, for them, like, makes their day.
It's the impact you can have with that money, right?
Exactly, bro. It's not about.
And going into like, well, the next topic, we're kind of already in that topic, but it's like,
The second most important thing.
well, we could kind of go into that, but I also wanted to speak about like relationships and when your income grows from the standpoint of a man. How does that look like in terms of relationships? It's very different on both sexes, right? And genders.
Yeah, so how I see it, I mean, ideally I'd want my wife to stay at home and I handle everything, literally everything.
Yeah.
But obviously she wants to work or do whatever she wants. She's like, obviously welcome to do that. Like, I'm not going to force her to do anything, but that's just my ideal vision. And so, because it's very important to stay on the like kids and watch what they're doing, because especially with like social media and all that. Us growing up, it was like Treehouse. We'd watch on TV or like YTV and stuff, which weren't that damaging, I would think, compared to now. So ideally, that's what I want. And I mean, I'd share everything as long as we're together. I'd share my whole wealth.
What about you, Shante? What does that look like for you?
I don't think it's a matter of sharing. I feel like,
I mean, we're a team. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
in regards to a relationship, I realize I feel like women don't need a lot.
Right.
And the reason why I'm gonna say that is like, you see a lot of women with like a following on social media, and like, obviously they don't know how to manage it, one, and then two, they have the potential to make so much money, but instead what they do is they take advantage of men that slide into their DMs, and instead of figuring out how to monetize their following or figuring out how to monetize their platform.
Right.
And this is obviously like a general stereotype, right? Because don't get it twisted, like there's women who are capable of monetizing their following and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's impossible and people are capable of doing it.
Right.
What I'm saying is that more often than not, I see women not properly monetizing their following and instead going the easy route and taking advantage of men that have money.
Exactly.
Right? And all that to say is that I feel like if I'm in a relationship with a woman, like one, like she doesn't need to drive.
Yeah.
Right? Like, first of all, if we're going anywhere, like a large majority of the time, I'm going to be the one driving.
Oh.
Right? Two, if you have to go somewhere on your own, like we might have a driver, we might have somebody, but there's going to be a car there. Right? So I'm not letting like Shorty drive any like sports cars or anything like that. We might have like a Civic or something for her, right? That she's capable of taking.
Capable is crazy.
That anything of taking. Point being is that more often than not, like women don't require much, right?
Like you're saying they're not high maintenance?
I'm saying women are definitely high maintenance because
The high mate.
they high maintenance. Women, when I say they don't require much,
Yeah.
what I mean by that is like girls aren't stoked by like them having their own sports car, you know, or like them having their own like bust down watch or like anything like that. They want the Birkin because they see it on social media,
Right.
but for the most part, like they don't need much. Like women are capable of living off of men,
Right.
you know. So I think as long as like me and my wife or whatever it is can figure out, or no, as long as I know that my wife can add value to whatever I have going on, we're both going to be in a situation where like we're fine for life. Like, why am I going to send you to work to go make $50K a year if we have a business making $10 million a year? You know what I mean? Like, it's just not necessary. And I think that nowadays people feel accomplished by the wrong things, and a lot of times women aren't accomplished or don't feel accomplished by the money that they have coming in. They feel accomplished by the diploma that they get or where they reach in their educational career. Right. So I don't have a problem sharing wealth with a woman as long as she's providing value to what I'm doing. And then two, like I said, like they don't require much as far as being able to live. Like a woman's more hype being in the passenger seat of a Lamborghini than being in the driver's seat of it.
But if we're talking about just, you know, daily lifestyle and all of that, but one thing I've come to notice is I find a man that's emotionally intelligent. Yeah. And I find that a lot of men are not. Either they're not or they choose not to be emotionally intelligent because it's just easier that way. But I find that women struggle, well, like of this generation, I guess, I don't generalize too much, but they struggle to handle men that are emotionally intelligent, men that can actually sit you down and tell you what you've done. Yeah. Because they're used to a relationship where men are telling the men what they've done wrong. Yeah. Right? So relationships where you're emotionally intelligent to do everything right to be on your best behavior, and they're the one that are constantly messing up, and it's like it gets to a point where you feel like you're in a relationship with a child because you couldn't have to put them in a place and tell you how to treat you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So on that note, bro, if I'm gonna be honest, I'm sure. Well, I don't know, and I'm gonna be harsh when I say it. Right. Okay. Yeah. But like, I'm the one that's grinding every day to make sure you have a life. Right? Because you're not the one that's going to make our family $1 million. Like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're selling your ass, you're selling your pussy or some shit like that. Like, you're not the one that's going to make our family $1 million. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm going to just put it out like that. 100%. Right? And you know what? If a woman is making $1 million a month, shout out to you. But men are not attracted to women that have money. Right? Men are not attracted to women that have money because that challenges our manlyhood. Right? Yeah. So that's why I say it, and I can say it very clearly, you're not the one that's going to be providing for our family, right? So one, on your note, right? If I'm the one going out and putting my life on the line every single day and putting out my time, putting out my energy, exhausting myself to make sure that you have a life, right? And I'm literally doing everything to provide for you, provide for our family, and make sure that you're in a good position in life, I'm sorry, you have no right to challenge anything that I do in my life, right? So if I do something and you're unhappy with it, like, you might just have to sit down and look at it. Because anytime that I do something in my life, like, it's very calculated, I do it for a reason. And I don't think that if I'm the person that's going out and doing everything, a woman has the right to challenge anything that I do in my life.
You want like an example of what you mean by that? Like, what could be something potentially that someone could challenge that they wouldn't have?
I mean, I don't necessarily know right now off the top of my head, but like, let's say you get an argument, like, you know how you're talking about being emotionally intelligent, right, and how women are quick to jump towards what you did wrong and not right, and not understanding towards what they did in certain situations. Yeah. That's basically what I mean. So assessing any sort of situation like that, I personally just, if I'm the person, once again, that's putting my life on the line and sacrificing everything for you, exactly, yeah, like, you can't necessarily be unhappy with what I'm doing, because I just feel like as a man, there's 100 times more on my plate than you have on your plate. Right. And if there's something that you feel like I did wrong, I can definitely take it into consideration. However, everything that I do is evaluated.
But let's talk about that though. Like, there's a lot of struggles and things that men go through that are not spoken about and that we just have to deal with. Right? Yeah. Example, like emotions. Like, I find that women have all these ways to channel their emotions and deal with them and let them out. But us as men, we don't have much channels to actually let go of that emotion. So we're forced to keep in more. And like, example, there's a saying that Shelton always tells me. It's like, a relationship is only in jeopardy when the woman is unhappy. Yeah. You know what I mean? But when the man is unhappy, I mean, when the man is unhappy, yeah, it's a different story. And then there's always a way where a woman will find a way to switch it around and make it about her.
And that's why they say happy wife, happy life.
Exactly, but that's so unfair. So it's like, there's so much that men have to bottle up, and it's like, even when you look at the process of divorce where men barely get access to their children and stuff like that, and men that do crazy things out of anger or out of like that depression of suppressing everything inside, and it's like that's the scary part. It's like men we're forced to suppress so much, but once we blow up, man, it's scary.
Yeah,
It's very, very scary. Like some men do a lot of messed up stuff when they get to that, they reach that point,
Yeah,
And
that's some men. But bro, I think like just the struggle. Like I'm just speaking for myself, and I'm sure like I'm speaking for you guys as well. Like obviously there's men that don't fall into like the certain brackets that we're talking about, right?
yeah,
It's just like a tough situation because I feel like more often than not, women are put in a position where like their emotions are superior to anything, right? Like they could wake up, they're in a bad mood today, they're on their period, whatever it is, and it's like just because of that, everybody has to suffer.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like me, I could wake up, I'm having a bad day, but I'm gonna still go pick you up from wherever you're at. I'm gonna still make sure that you're eating. I'm gonna still make sure you have a place to sleep.
Exactly.
I'm gonna still make sure of all these things. You know what I mean? It's like you could tell me like, oh, you love me, or you appreciate me and stuff like that, but like there's certain things that just don't display that sort of appreciation.
That's the thing, right? It's like I forgot what I was gonna say, but you're talking about, yeah, exactly. I think that how you're feeling should not change how you treat somebody.
Yeah.
And that's when we talk about unconditional love.
Yeah.
So unconditional love is you love that person the same way no matter what the situation and whatever it is, right? So it's not because like you're feeling mad one day. Let's say you call your partner baby all the time. It's not because you're feeling mad that day that you're gonna start calling them by their first name. You know what I mean? Or like, let's say you pack them lunch every day, and then that one day you're mad you don't pack your lunch. That means you don't do it out of love.
Like you've got nobody else.
Exactly, right? So it's like, it doesn't mean that you're feeling some type of way that you have to treat the person you love or whoever's around you differently. That's one. And two, I find that it doesn't mean that you're having a bad day that everyone else has to have a bad day, or everybody, and there's those people that we have in our lives that, and honestly, guys, listen to this honest advice. If you have people in your life like that, cut them off like right now. Don't even think about it. Just cut them off. People that they have a bad day, you're having your good day, you've done what you had to do, you feel accomplished, you get one phone call, and that one phone call just ruins everything because they dump all that bad vibe, everything that they're feeling, they just dump it straight at you. And then when they're like, okay, bye, have a good day. How am I supposed to have a good day after that?
Yeah. You know what though? I think it's because most women tend to be, I don't know if I've ever said this, but most women are emotional thinkers.
Yeah.
Men tend to be logical thinkers. So it's like, let's say I got a phone call right now, somebody in my family died, right?
Right.
The woman will lay there, she'll cry about it and be like, oh fuck, somebody in my family died, and they'll be sad about it, and then kind of use that as an excuse to not do anything. But me, as a logical thinker, right, I'll be sitting there and I'll be like, okay, I'll get the phone call. And not to say I won't feel any sort of way emotionally about it, but logically, the situation happened. It's about how you move forward from that, how you handle it,
Right.
and understanding that the situation already happened, you can't do anything about it. Nothing's gonna solve this sort of situation.
Yeah.
And once again, like I just want to specify, like since we're talking about this, people might feel some type of way and obviously might not agree with certain things that we're saying. Everything is based off of like a general standard. Like in my opinion, like obviously there's certain men and certain women that don't qualify. So like if you feel like you don't, bless you, bro.
Rusty.
If you feel like honestly, if you feel targeted by any of the messages that we're displaying, it's probably because you're guilty of it.
Right.
And if you don't feel targeted and you're following in either like that man bracket or like that female bracket that we're talking about,
Exactly.
you're probably just not a part of it, right? So like don't take certain things personally, because at the end of the day, like if somebody says something and you feel some sort of way about it, like let's say we're addressing women and you're a woman and you feel some sort of way about it, it's because you're probably guilty of that and you know that. So
we also got to respect that this is based off our personal experiences, our own experiences.
For sure.
So that needs to be respected as well. Yeah.
For sure. Bro, on that note too, and something that I want to touch on, it kind of reminds me like of how the world works, right? Like we're talking about, it was something you mentioned like not too long ago. You were basically saying, what was it? Women, I don't really remember. But it was just, it's about like positions of authority and stuff like that. Right? You were basically saying, you're basically saying that like my day is based off of how your day goes.
Exactly.
That's basically what you were saying.
Yeah.
And the way that the world works is that anybody in a position of power, in my opinion, shouldn't be in a position of power because their emotions get in the way of their jobs.
Exactly.
So let's say you're a police officer, you're having a bad day.
Exactly.
You might pull me over and give me a ticket for no reason when you know I'm not supposed to get a ticket, right? Let's say you're a judge, you know, something in your life resulted in you not liking a certain race or you not liking a certain gender or whatever it is. You might have prejudice towards that gender, that race, that sort of person. And just because of that, you're going to go throw somebody in jail. So it's like the same sort of thing with relationships.
And I think that term business is business and all that, I feel like it's fake.
Yeah.
Or when you come into a space and you take nothing personally.
Yeah.
But it's like we're humans. Like emotions are always gonna get in the way. Like we're always constantly feeling. There's constantly things in our life shifting and influencing how we're feeling, right? So it's like, it's a real thing. So it's like telling someone to not take things personal it's a fake concept, honestly. Yeah.
You're always gonna feel some type of way. Exactly. Well, of the delivery. It's just a matter of how you receive it and handle it.
You wanted to touch on one last thing before we close it off?
Yeah, so I want to talk about what are your ideas like to help out Congo in the future, just because I'll touch up about Lebanon quickly. Like my vision and like my ultimate goal, I guess, would be to help Lebanon. So, I mean, I have in my head, like I could build a train that goes throughout Lebanon because there's no way of transportation really. And also electricity is not 100% guaranteed like here. We're very fortunate here. So, I mean, I had a plan to get everyone on solar. So, I mean, those two are probably the biggest things. Obviously, it's going to cost a lot of money. But, yeah, that's if everything works out. Like, those are two things I want to do, and I feel like that would take the country off the ground. What are you thinking of doing to help out Congo?
So I find that the issue with Congo, the first thing that people need to understand about Congo is that Congo's fighting, a lot of countries, the issues that they have is directly related to the government, right? It's the government doing things that is oppressing the people, but Congo's past that. Like example, when they had the SARS in Nigeria, that was straight government. But the thing with Congo is that we're fighting bigger powers. We're fighting the world's biggest leaders, the world's biggest companies, because they fear the potential and what Congo could become because of the resources and what we have. So for me, my first project in Congo, well, first of all, is education. Education is important in Congo because we do not, like we were talking about earlier, we do not have the resources or the education to basically monetize and use our own resources at our advantage. So I feel like that's the first project I would do. So some type of education project, because in Congo, they prioritize diplomas too much. So you have people with 2, 3, 4 diplomas, masters, but they don't have a job. So I would prioritize handwork, learning how to build houses, plumbing, electricity, agriculture. That type of education would benefit our country so much because we need to build infrastructure. We do not have infrastructure. We need to use both our hands and build things. So I think that would be my first priority. So having, the best of the best come and teach people that and show people, the reward of, knowing those type of skills. 2, for me, my biggest project would be agriculture, but would have like a factory beside. So I would want to build like a greenhouse because Congo has 2 types of weather. So it has very hot weather and very cold weather. Not very cold, sorry. A lot of rain. Okay. So it's either there's a lot of rain or it's very sunny. So sometimes in some areas it's very hard to grow things, but we still have very fertile land. So I would build a big farm. It would be run by solar. It would be vertical growing. So vertical growing is when what you're growing is connected to computers. So you have very precise statistics and information. So how much water it needs, the humidity, how much sun it needs, and the plants and whatever you're growing grows faster. And then, the workers that I would have pension. They would have good salaries. They would have sick days, and we'd have scholarships for their kids. And also the food that we're growing, they could take it back home and feed it to their families. And then we'd also have bus down there, solar ran that would take them to work every day and stuff like that. So when you create something like that, a society like that, because a lot of people come to Congo with their projects, but for their own profit. But we need more people that come to Congo
To help it out.
To help it out. So the project really is for the profit of the people. So for me, it would be creating a farm. I would have maybe like 100 employees. And then beside that farm, we'd have a factory where we process the food. So let's say we're growing tomatoes, they put them in the cans. So let's say we're growing strawberries, they put them in the whatever container that they put strawberries in, they close it up and all that stuff. So those are the two type of like companies I would want to start there. It could create an economy because a lot of people are making money. So now they can reinvest into the Congolese economy by buying products, buying things, starting their own little projects and stuff like that. And helping each other out and stuff like that. And that'd be one of my projects to Congo. I think it'd be beneficial. And I think a third project that I would have is basically creating an entrepreneurial economy in Congo, where the average person can start a business and actually start seeing profit and be able to take that profit and reinvest it in hire employees and stuff like that. I think that'd be the best way to kind of grow the economy right now, and then that can be reinvested into building the country that we have. But
Beautiful.
I think for me, when I look at it, like just based off what I've seen, like I'm a person that I want to be able to see like the impact that I have on people, right? Because for example, like there's all these different things. Like when we were in high school, they had like this thing, I don't even know what it was called. They would send people to Jamaica to go help build schools and like churches and stuff like that. Like to be honest, like I personally feel like those sorts of things don't necessarily impact enough lives.
No.
Right. And I think that like the number one issue, obviously like education is a big thing, but what is education if you as a human being don't have a safe place to live and don't have food to eat? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like those are like the main priorities that you need in life. So I think for me, like I want to be able to actually rebuild communities and put people in homes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And actually see the direct impact that I make, because I don't know, like people go send money to Jamaica, send money to all these different countries, but like where does that money actually end up going and what does that money put towards? Because the amount of money that people have actually donated is insane. And like if I was in possession of that money, I feel like I could do 10 times more, like 100 times more than anything that sort of money is doing. You know what I mean? So like I want to be able to actually go and like rebuild communities and like take people and like put them in a home.
Yeah.
And then I think the other issue is that unfortunately there's a lot of people that are just living on the street.
Yeah.
And like probably for one, like aren't necessarily in a position where they mentally understand like what's actually going on.
Yeah.
And obviously just being able to rehabilitate those people, right? So I think the first step would like just being able to put people in homes and giving them like a comfortable living, giving them food so they can actually live properly and healthy. And then I think the second thing for me would be getting people in education.
You're wrapping up.
Yeah. Just getting people in education. Then after that, we can figure out how to, sort out everything with the economy. Because, bro, like a large majority of the money coming into Jamaica just comes from tourists.
But also, honestly, like a thing that I wanted to add, well, my camera died, but good. Y'all can hear me. Well, I think I want to add to is mental health is a big thing.
Yeah.
The thing is that you can give someone all of that, like you can give them food, somewhere to stay, a job. But if the mental is not right,
yeah, for sure,
you cannot accomplish or do nothing of those things. And I feel like that's the issue with homelessness here. Like we in Canada and other places, we often look at people that are homeless in the streets, downtown, etc., and we're like, why don't you just get up and go get a job? A lot of these people are mentally limited, so it's like you can give them all the resources possible, but they're mentally
it's not going to do anything for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we don't do enough for that side of things.
Yeah,
I agree.
for sure. But that being said, we're at 75 minutes now, so let's close it out. My camera's about to die too. It already died once. But if you reach this point in the video, leave a comment down below. Let us know that you reached this far in the video. I'm on no bars now. Shit. Okay. I want to thank Chris for joining the podcast. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel already, please subscribe, smash that like button.
And we'll in the description, by the way.
Yeah, socials in the description. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.